What would your business and life look like if you never took chances or embraced change? Sometimes I look at the people throughout my life, and some of them seem to be stuck in time, and others are just nailing it. That's the difference between finding what works, how to apply it to your needs. Changes over the years have sometimes come to me at a rapid pace and sometimes turtle slow. But I've always been open to possibilities. And I think that's what made the difference to getting me to where I am today and changing with each season of life. When I started my business ownership journey, it was about contributing financially and being of help to others, whether it's clients, colleagues, partners, whatnot. I migrated and I pivot based on the seasons of life, which got me to where I am today. For years, I had this vision of a space that would help others without having to implement or being the implementer. I'm Lee Drozak, and today we're talking about the shift method and navigating your own path. So let's get into it. Some people get stuck by following the blueprint that's set out for them instead of finding the lessons that you gather along the way. For me, it's been about flying by the seat of my pants, just doing what came, like finding the information and then figuring out as I go. And the great thing about that was two things happened. I took action and I learned the lesson. Let me repeat that: actions and lessons. Now, I don't recommend that you use that as a business model or a way forward because it can be confusing and exhausting and overwhelming, sometimes in a good way, sometimes not. But the point is that there are people who require structure to move forward, and there are people who just want to do and then learn as they go. There's no wrong or right way about it. I look at a lot of people as guide forces, but for me, I always fall back to these same two people, Warren Buffett and Mother Teresa, to help me channel my inner guidance system. Mother Teresa, because she didn't waver from her core values and her beliefs. And Warren Buffett, because he always stayed true to his roots no matter how much money he made. That's what true wealth is. Taking all of the lessons that I learned and where I was coming from, where I am now, and where I want to be, I started to think about a way to make that happen. And that's how Shift was born. It's not a framework or a blueprint, but a compass. It wasn't about creating another 50-step course or templates to follow along the lines. For me, it was more about presenting information in a way that's easy to digest. And then you picking what works and what doesn't work. Not paint by numbers where you get the paints and you get the numbers and you get the canvas and you follow along to hopefully make a coherent looking picture. Instead, it's taking the tools and making something happen. And when you make a mistake in Bob Ross style, you say, oh, look, let's put a happy little cloud there. I have happy little clouds everywhere. But Shift is made up of 5 parts. And that's what we're talking about in this series. But first, I want to talk about each of the parts that I designed to create Shift to help me focus on the parts that move you forward and get you unstuck. That is how I got here. See, there are these 6 pieces that I needed to get clear on before I could put together something cohesive and coherent. All of these years in the making, it has been about trying to do something different, but not different like groundbreaking, different that There's so much out there about follow my method, or if you don't do this, it's not right. I've used all throughout my business when I started 17 years ago, and even today, as I'm putting together the Navigator HQ. Things I needed to get clear on before I could move forward. So the first is my core beliefs, the truth that anchors you, your boundaries, your purpose, your non-negotiables, the parts that if you didn't follow or didn't have as a compass would really throw you off kilter. And then I moved on to core questions. These are questions that I ask myself to keep in check. Making decisions that are thoughtful and reflective. It's really easy to make a decision. It's much harder to make an intentional decision because that's where you have to really make sure that it fits into your purpose. And then I added the filters. Those are the parts that help me sort through the distraction and the noise. Unlike the questions that help me get clear, this is the part that helps keep me moving forward. That brings me to my systems and processes. These are the pieces that help me navigate through the chaos. I'm an organizer. I love organization, minimalism, doing things with intention. And so by having systems and processes, it allows you a path forward, even if it's in its most rudimentary state. And then you have the routes or the paths. I like to call them seasons. It's my way to describe what part of life I'm in. It's not about revisiting levels as do-overs or levels that you think you're on, but a place to meet you where you're. It's not perfect, and you might be in that space a couple times over or have to move through one path and come right back to another. But it's just like an area where it's a starting point for you. And then, of course, there's tools and resources. Favorite part, because I am a techie and I am an early adopter. But this is also my biggest downfall because tools and technology are changing rapidly. All of my life, I've had to adapt to that from early internet to wireless and remote and everything else that comes in between. And now with AI. But for me, it's gotten me to where I am and it allows me to live the lifestyle I want. Look, tools are there to help you, resources are there to help you. They help you with the ease, not distract you. If you're in a season of change, new business, pivot in your life, stuck in what comes next, come along for the ride. I would love to have you here. And together we'll shift into a new space to keep us moving forward and sidestepping the parts that aren't working for the pieces that don't forget to like and subscribe because I've got more in store for you. Everything from videos like this, where we talk about mindset or lessons learned or problem solved, to how I actually do things behind the scenes peek, looks at technology and processes. So with that said, I'll see you in the next video and thanks a lot for watching.